Hello, it's Fred and Sheila McCoy.
Hi.
We're at the Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky. And Sheila has forgot her tripod today, so one of us has to hold the camera while the other one videos. So
that's okay.
Normally she's over here with me where you can see us both, mainly her.
No,
that's the better half. But today we're at the Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky. Hatfield's McCoy's Museum.com, or you can click on her YouTube channel that you're on now up top somewhere.
There's a link.
There's a link to our website, and we're going to discuss today another board that's on our wall. And
skim through here right real quick.
Yeah, that's just different boards that we got with different things. And when you come to the museum, if you've got a question about something or somebody, it makes it easier for us to cover it. And that's how we like to do it, is these boards. And
we have a lot of reading information in these boards.
Now, the one we're going to cover right now is this one right here. Now, Sheila is going to make close-ups of this, and she'll put them at the back of the video.
Right.
Where you can stop your camera on it, your
TV or whatever you're watching it on.
And you can read it if you want. But I know I don't like to put my back to the camera. I don't like to read. I'd rather, but on this board here, I'm going to be reading a lot because I got some of this off of a Facebook page.
Okay.
And like we've said before, we've got several books on the Hatfields and McCoy, the feud. And we've got plenty enough to cover in our books. But it's so interesting to read some of these Hatfield McCoy comments on these Hatfield McCoy pages or on YouTube, and then just say, hey, let's correct that one. That's going to cover a story. And because if we don't correct it, every time somebody reads it or sees it, they're going to believe it. If we correct it and they happen to watch Sheila's video, then they can say to themselves, wait a minute. I already saw a segment on this, and that's not what happened, or that's not the way it was. Or if we're wrong, then you can say, but those people was wrong. I would honestly, I don't think we're wrong on nothing that we're going to tell you, because I wouldn't put something on a video that you could prove me wrong for. I'm too proud for that, and I'm too good of an investigator, so we are. But I saw this on a Hatfield McCoy Facebook page, and I'll just read it. And it says, William Anderson Devil Anse Hatfield is best known for being the patriarch of the family involved in the famous Hatfield McCoy feud, nearly 25 years prior to the start of the hostilities with the McCoy family. However, Hatfield served in various units associated with the Confederacy. Now, listen to that comment. At the start of the Civil War in 1861, Hatfield was a 21-year-old farmer from Logan County, West Virginia. From Logan County, Virginia, now West Virginia. Although he undoubtedly enlisted in a Confederate unit in the first year of the war, his service record during that time is ambiguous. No documentation exists connecting Hatfield to a particular unit in 1861. In fact, evidence and family tradition link him to 3 different regiments during the first year of war. At the start of the Civil War in 1861, he was a 21-year-old farmer, the same as Randall McCoy, a farmer.
Exactly.
He undoubtedly enlisted in the war. His service record during this time is ambiguous. Ambiguous could mean 2 different things. No, it don't mean 2 different things. It means that he wasn't in the military. There's no record to show.
At that time.
If I don't have a paper to show you that I once was an astronaut, then there's nothing ambiguous about it. I probably wasn't an astronaut. But this is how they have written the story on him over the years. No documentation exists connecting Hatfield to a particular unit in 1861, but evidence and family tradition link him to 3 different regiments during the first year of the war.
What kind
Documents, evidence, where are they? You just said up here, this fella did, that there was no evidence. There's no, nothing, no service record. But yet down here he says evidence and family tradition. Family tradition is family rumors, is things that the family has said throughout the years. Devil Ant's 6 foot tall and 180 pounds of hail. May have been 180 pounds of hail, but he was 5'6". But that 6 foot has stuck. Hatfield's documented Confederate service begins in 1862 when he was commissioned a first lieutenant of cavalry in the Virginia state line. This regional unit was formed in May of 1862 in order to protect the territory along Kentucky and Virginia border, where residents' loyalties to the North and South are mixed. Borderline. It was a border state. Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, they were border states. So that's correct. But let's go back to this part. Begins in 1862 when he was commissioned a first lieutenant. We've got a documentation where he was a private.
Right.
We've got documentation where Randall McCoy was a private, where Uriah McCoy, my great-great-grandfather, was a private. We've never seen the first documented Civil War paper where Devil Anse Hatfield was a lieutenant or a captain or anything other than a private. When he was commissioned a first lieutenant of the cavalry in the Virginia state line. Guess what else we don't have? We don't have the first documented report where Devil Anse was ever in the Virginia state line. We've got where he was in the 45th, but not in the Virginia state line. And the lack of documentation or evidence tends to suggest that that's fabricated. That's not true. In order to protect the territory, the Virginia state line eventually disbanded. See, who cares when the Virginia state line disbanded? That's a magician. You're watching this hand while this hand's stabbing you in the back. That's not right. Who cares when the Virginia state line disbanded in 1862 and Hatfield enlisted as a private in the newly formed 45th? True. In 1863, February of 1863, Devil Anse was declared a deserter.
Yep.
February. So we did see a paper where he enlisted in late fall of 62. So we'll give him October, November, December that he enlisted in 62. But by February of 63, we have desertion papers in there where he had already deserted. So again, I'm just going over what's written on Facebook page, and you can go find it, and then you can read all the comments that all these people from other states that have found the Hatfield-McCoy feud to be interesting to them over the years. You can find where they put and say, that Devil Anse was a hell of a man. That Devil Anse was this. That Devil Anse walked on water. Well, he didn't. All right, at least there's no evidence to it, okay? Now finish on here. He joined the newly formed 45th. Okay. He was quickly appointed to the position of First Lieutenant of Company B. And it appears that later he was promoted to captain.
Nope.
Wow. He joined the 45th in late 62. He deserted in February of 63. He's barely there long enough to get a uniform, much less lieutenant or captain. We've covered this before. If we haven't, we will, but he couldn't read or write. So you couldn't be an officer. You couldn't be a captain or lieutenant. You had to be able to send messages and correspond with other units and stuff. So that was one of the requirements of an officer. So Devil Anse could have never been an officer in the Confederate or the Union Army as far as that's concerned. Legitimately. Listen how he says, was quickly appointed to the position of First Lieutenant of Company B, and it appears that he was later made a captain. Appears. Where is that evidence? Where is that documented? Where's the proof? I think, I don't want to beat a dead horse, But I want you to, the viewer there, to really understand how we've heard this for years and years and years. And it gets old. And I know everybody don't believe it because we correspond with other people that says, hey, we know that. But there are people out there that believes it because you can look at the comments. In an article about Devil Ants published in October of 1900, issue on Confederate magazine, the story is told of an attack on his home, living in the borderland where sentiments was divided. Made up a company. You know, this man's saying that there was a story in the 1900s in this Confederate veteran magazine. Okay, wouldn't this have been a great place for him to post it, the cover of the magazine, or better yet, the article? I'd love to see that. That would be great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. He doesn't show us this. He tells us this. I can tell you, I got a full head of hair, if you want to believe it. Now, and that's what I'm getting to. I can tell you anything. If you're telling me this man was in an October 1900s issue of the Confederate Veteran magazine, I would love to see that. That would be, that's history. I love history, we do.
Yeah.
But it's not here. So common sense people, until they produce that, take it as what it is, a crock. The story is told that there was an attack on his home. He made up a company, was elected as captain, and marched forth to an honorable warfare. It does acknowledge here that he made up this company, the 39th, and we'll get to that in a minute, the Logan Wildcats, and marched forth to an honorable warfare, leaving a wife and family at home. Something I think about 1863, a party of man they went over the border. He's saying that they went over the border and they threatened Devil Ants' family. Well, listen, Randall McCoy's family was there. Uriah McCoy's family was there. Preacher Ants Hatfield's family was there.
Anybody who enlisted, their family was there.
All families was in danger. But you know, until this was written, this is what you call written in the history. I don't have the date on here, but this is on a Facebook page. There's only about 5 or 6 Hatfield McCoy Facebook pages out there. So just go through them and scan them because they're interesting just to read. And but you'll find this story and you'll see the date. And the date is 2019, 2020, somewhere within the last couple of years that he's wrote this in the history. This has been written in history forevermore. Somebody will read this and say, oh, Devil Ants, his family, they got threatened. He had to go home. On hearing of it, Captain Hatfield secured leave of absence from the army and promptly settled with the villains. Upon hearing that his family had been threatened, Devil Ants secured leave and went home and settled with his family. Wow, that'd been nice if everybody in the Civil War could have went home and took care of their family. There was no such thing as leave. If you haven't seen it yet, you will in one of our videos. We've got the documentation where Devil Ants was a deserter. Right. Declared a deserter twice. 63, February 63, and then again in 64 when they done the new muster rolls, he was still a deserter. In fact, when he signed in 1865, I think it was June of 1865, he signed the emancipation form. He put his X on there. And he was still a deserter at that point. He was still a deserter. But of course that cleared him to be a free, and it was no charges. Early in 1864, dozens of soldiers, including Hatfield's, deserted the Confederate Union. Reasons unknown. Some sources maintain. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what this group of men here is. This group of men here are actually the Logan Wildcats. That is the real Logan Wildcats. That is the real Company D, the 39th Unit, 36th Virginia Infantry, the Logan Wildcats. That is some of them.
Wow.
Now, Devil Ants, the 36th Virginia Infantry disbanded on April the 12th, 1865. That's after the Civil War had ended, or
Right.
when it ended. Another unit termed the Logan Wildcats. Now this is mine and Sheila's writing here. Another unit termed the Logan Wildcats was armed as irregulars, led by Devil Anse Hatfield, that was active in Logan County. I'm sorry, that was still his comment. Ours is below. Devil Anse formed a unit also called the Logan Wildcats. Now, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you call yourself the Mavericks, the Renegades, the Desperados? Name yourself anything. Why would you call yourself the Logan Wildcats? Because Company D, 36th Infantry, Logan Wildcats was some badass dudes. They were bad, and they were Confederate, and they were all over Wyoming County, all over the southern part of what was then West Virginia.
Okay.
And he wanted to be part of that. So he's an impersonator. He's a make-believe. He wanted his family and friends, they didn't know he deserted. When him and some of his family members and the deserters returned home and formed what they refer to as the Home Guard, they were home guards because they were home guarding their homes, but they were deserters. What if everybody would have took off home what if everybody right now in Afghanistan would take off home to guard their homes? Who fights? What do you do? That's not allowed. You're known as a deserter. So anyway, Devil Anse started his own unit, and he called them the Logan Wildcats. I'll finish up down here now.
Okay.
Let this document speak for itself. There was a legitimate Confederate unit, fighting unit, called the Logan Wildcats. After Devil Anse deserted on or before 63, he also named his group Logan Wildcats. In reality, they were nothing more than Jesse James and Cole Youngers back in the time. They just fooled the people. You know, Jesse James and Cole Younger and all of them, Black Bart, after the Civil War, they all turned to crime, and they robbed and stole. And same thing Devil Anse Hatfield did. Devil Anse Hatfield took livestock. He took horses, chickens, goats, whatever he wanted, but he done it under the color of the Confederacy. Oh, we'll take it from the Union and we'll take it home, and we'll take it as the Wildcats. And that was stealing. He didn't steal for the Confederacy. He stole for his family and for him to prosper himself, much like he did his timber business. And we'll get in on another video. Thank you all for joining. Sheila, have I left anything out?
No, I think you've got everything covered. Did a good job.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. Please don't take the tone of voice or I'm not the best presenter. I've never professed to be. I'm here to give you this story, and then you take it from there and investigate it, or when you read this story later on, you'll think to yourself, wait, where's the evidence? You say one thing, but you're not showing us nothing. So remember that. Thanks.
Like, subscribe, and
Hit that bell.
thank you.
Thanks.